Today I'm going to show how to build a lot of standardized military ships by using templates. But you can also use this technique to build civilian ships like traders or miners. I put this in a red episode because it's not that obvious, but if done correctly you can easily remove 90% of the required steps to build or replace ships and get them working. For the most basic setup you will need 5 things in your outpost. The ship construction components, hull plating, computers and quantum tubes, and then of course the ship's weapons and its shields. In this example I'm using what I call a super shipyard, an outpost which has a very high population and the ability to produce extra tuned ships, their lasers and the shields. This can be useful if you are producing a lot of different ship designs or if they use more than one type of weapon. It's less useful for a large-scale small ship production, as you will see in a bit. And eventually it also costs you an additional perk slot to unlock optimal parallel tasks, which makes all 3 internal factories work at full speed. Usually I just build ships, weapons and shields in different outposts and ferry them over with agent jobs. Open your Outpost Manager, go to the Internal Factory screen and switch to your ship factory. We are starting off by producing a single ship without any equipment. With this quality setting you can get a resource discount. In turn, the ship will be more expensive to maintain over time. I'm starting with a very small ship design. These are not very expensive and I don't intend to use them forever. So I'm just shooting for the highest resource discount by producing them at garbage level quality. My ship of choice is an M4, the Teladi Bussard. Click on the ship and it will instantly be added to the production bay. I already know how I want to equip this ship, so I'm going straight to the laser factory and build 6 energy bolt chain guns. And the required shielding. I'm now checking my outpost list. As you can see, the outpost has 3 ongoing projects, but these could well be outsourced to different outposts if you like. Once everything is in place, equip this ship and make it combat ready. Now I'm renaming it to make it stand out as my role model for an entire fleet of these. It's just my habit and not required at all. Back in the player console, select the Template Manager. Choose the right class, click on the role model ship and name your new template. If you click on it, you can see the entire loadout. This is a basic one, but this template would also control turret commands and missile resupply. So best take a moment and double check if everything is set up as you intended. Now promote the ship to become a fleet commander. I'm building a new fleet from scratch. If you are producing reinforcements for an existing commander, you don't need to do this. Let me just move him a bit away from the outpost. Now back in the ship factory. Select the new template you want to build. This option here places additional orders for the required energy chain guns and the shields. And up here you can set the quantity. You can set a specific amount or simply produce non-stop until some resource is running out. If you build a lot of smaller ships, you should always run a loop production. The reason being that each ship consumes 1 population unit once it starts construction. So if I was to order 20 of these fighters, my population would instantly drop down to 46, which reduces their production speed further. A loop project builds 1 ship at a time. Production speed will be much higher, and I can already start to use the first ships as soon as they are ready. Down here you can assign a home base or a fleet. Make sure that you are actually in the fleet section of this screen, and select your desired commander. In this case it's my new template ship. Now click on the ship and bam! What happened? The outpost added 3 projects to the production queue. A loop project for the ship, but no loop projects for the equipment. Instead it added a single order for all weapons and shield it believed it had the resources for. And this is why this option doesn't work for loop production. Because as ships get produced, they would still have to wait inside the outpost until their equipment was finished too. And since you are building hundreds of it at the same time, this would take a while. This option is more useful if you order larger ships one at a time or at a specific quantity. But for a good old fighter spam, this is not what I want, so I'm cancelling all orders and ongoing projects. Simply click on them and get a resource refund. So the takeaway should be not to use this option with a loop production. Big no-no. Instead, just start a loop project for each type of equipment. The ship, the weapon, and the shield. And now for the 2 huge reasons why this is a red episode and why you should bother with all of this in the first place. The auto-equipping will even work if a new ship can't find the equipment it needs right away. It will wait until all parts of the template arrive at its outpost. So you don't need a super shipyard. You can simply produce everything somewhere in your empire and let agents ferry the goods to the ship production. This might seem cumbersome right now, but in the grand scheme of things, when you got a good dozen sectors, moving thousands of weapons around is really just a minor part of your overall logistics. And second, as ships leave the assembly line, they already get the order to join the fleet. They will get incorporated into an existing chain of command. You never have to open the command console for these 80 new ships you just built. You never have to tell them to do something, you never have to touch them. Everything will just work out of the box, and it can be scaled up indefinitely. Whether you're producing a small sector security wing to hunt that pesky pirate, or a whole carrier group to conquer a whole cluster from the lizards. The user input required to produce and control these fleets will always stay the same.